Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, family. Um, this is your soul brother Talib, right back at it with you again. Um, and before I get into the subject of what I want to talk about in this video, you know, I know many of you don't get into watching the news as far as what's going on in the country or the world, but I would advise you, you know, to kind of keep up with it because there are some events taking place right now, even in this country, that is very important for you to keep an eye open on because it can affect actually, you know, the situation all around in this country, which in other words, meaning that it could cause some things to definitely change. And these changes is something we must definitely be prepared for. So I just encourage you to kind of keep up with the news, you know, because you got to always be aware, at least to some point, of what's going on around you in this world we living in, and especially in this sadistic, crazy society that we're living in. Now, this title of this video is going to be uh, called The Black Family. And the reason I want to go off into this here because I kind of spoke a little bit about it yesterday in another video I made, which was under the title of the Jackson, Mississippi water crisis, which I should have posted, but I didn't. But, you know, because it's been kind of a little difficult trying to work things out on this new phone. And I don't even know if I'll be able to post the title under this video. But nevertheless, I'm going to try my due diligence too. But we'll get it figured out some kind of way where this video will be posted and with the title and where the title will be under it. But however, I'm gonna go and get straight right off into this topic. You know, as many people I've experienced, you know, dealing with the social divide when it comes to domestic family matters, you know, and to this very day, I still do, you know, and, but I also know that I'm not alone in this type of situation. And the reason I titled is titled The Black Family because for those of us who are dark-skinned, born descendants of slaves who were born in this country or that were born in this country, rather to put have come from dysfunctional family backgrounds. And like I said in another video recently, there is no descendant of a slave born in this country that does not come from some type of kind of form of dysfunction when it comes to their biological family bloodline. And if they say they don't have no dysfunction in their family, if one that says that, they're telling a lie, flat out. And I don't care who it is, they telling a lie. Because slavery affected all of those of us among the 40 plus million dark-skinned slave descendants of slaves born in this country, where our families were broken up, children being sold off, mothers, fathers being sold off, you know, and so forth and on. So it's impossible to sit up and think that that has not trickled down to today's generation of Black America. Again, I'm going to repeat this. It's impossible to think that that type of situation has not trickled down to the present generation of Soul Black America, because that still has a compounding effect on all of those of us who are a part of Soul Black America. You know, and whether we like it or not, whether we want to accept it or not, as someone say, it's just plain out simple reality. And it ain't no way to get around that. I mean, you know, unless you just want to argue at the facts, argue with the truth, go ahead, be my guest. But the truth, like they say, don't even need no support to stand on its own foundation. So, you know, like I said, one way or another, every Black person who is a descendant of a slave in this country comes from some type of form of family dysfunction. And, and then, like I spoke about yesterday in the video I made, that you could go on this same channel and watch, this channel called Eric Bell. You could go watch that video, because I mentioned some about that then in that video, about how even the crack cocaine epidemic destroyed all of us who are among the 40 plus million of soul Black people in America. It destroyed us. As far as the family structure, it destroyed us. Any type of morality we had in the family structure, even coming out of slavery over 150 some years ago, all that was wiped away once the crack cocaine epidemic came through. All that was just totally wiped away. And so, with that said, because many of us refuse to, simply look at that part when it comes to the situation about the heroin and crack cocaine epidemic. We just refuse to we just look over that, totally overlook that. I mean, we just totally overlook that. We don't give that no second thought as to why the Black family structure is totally destroyed like it is today in 2022. And from the way things are looking right now for us as a people in general, unfortunately, it may get worse. So, I mean, and see, this is the thing that we don't understand. You know, I hear a lot of people saying that no matter what happens among your blood biological relative, your biological blood relative family bloodline or whatever, you know what I'm saying? No matter what happens with your family bloodline, family is still family. Well, I totally disagree with that. I totally disagree with that. I have to disagree with that. I used to believe that to a certain point, but now I just totally disagree with that. Because, see, family could be a stranger that you just met on the street. Whether you want to know the truth about that or not, family could be someone that you just know around the neighborhood or that you are a associate with. You know, that's not even uh, connected to you in any type of blood kinship way. You know, so family could come in many ways. You know, it ain't got to be your blood relative. As a matter of fact, it has been instances where, and even with my own personal experiences in life, where I had people in their own way treat me like family, and it just wasn't even black people. I've had a lot of people who don't even look like me, far as skin tone color wise. They treated me like family, which is a type of treatment that I've never received from multiple blood related relatives of my own and never will. You see? So, I have to say that, it's no such thing as just because somebody is your blood relative that they are family. And especially with us, those of us who are a part of Soul Black America, as 40 plus million born slave descendants here in this country, I must say that as well, that a lot of your own blood relatives from your biological relative bloodline cannot be trusted. And I could go into many instances about that all night, but I'm going to just give you a little dose of what I mean by that. First of all, I've had people that were so-called blood relatives that allow other people to help them to do harm to me. And not necessarily physical harm, but emotional harm, other different types of harm. You know what I'm saying? But, and then you got those relatives who will also use other people who's not kin to the family to do bodily, physical harm to one of their own relatives. Matter of fact, I was recently threatened by a so-called blood relative of mine that he would have something done to me, which meaning he would have someone else who's not of any blood relation to do it. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, you know, this is serious. You know what I'm saying? This is serious. And it has been many instances, not just even with soul black people, but people in general, where, you know, they will use others, you know, to do their bidding for them so they won't get their hands dirty when it comes to harming you as their own relative, or doing anything to try to harm you, period. And that's just the reality. That's why, like the old saying go, all kinfolk ain't kinfolk, you know? And that's just the reality of it, you know? Because we today, especially in the so-called Black American community, we have so much domestic violence going on, you know? And part of that domestic violence is actually biological brothers and sisters killing each other as siblings. I'm talking about people who came out the same womb, or you're close to kin. Son pulling the gun on his father, father pulling the gun on the son, having shootouts and all this type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know, like this one young man, I think he was 17. He was a young teenager. I think he was out of Indiana somewhere. I forgot what part of Indiana it was. But he wiped out his whole family. He wiped out his whole entire family. All because he was told that he was on a punishment. I guess for some infraction he made. And so he didn't like the idea that one of the relatives whose custody he was in told him that he was on punishment. So he went and got a gun, shot him, and shot everybody else in the household. Just wiped them out. Even the siblings of his, you know, wiped them out. And I think he killed both of his parents, if I'm not mistaken. I know he killed his father. But, I mean, he just totally wiped out his whole family. You know, so, like I said, and what would possess somebody to do that? I can't get into them questions. I don't know. But I do know one thing. We have a situation going on with us as soul black people in America when it comes to all this violence, especially even with the family domesticated violence, you know. And see, it's more widely paid attention to when you got brothers and sisters on the streets that's not kin or nor are of any type of blood kin relation to each other, just simply killing each other and all this type of stuff, fighting and just doing reckless stuff to harm each other every day in the streets of America. But what people miss is that a lot of them are family relatives that's related to each other by blood. Even with the gang stuff, you have had Crips or Bloods who've killed other people that were rival gang members or even in their own gang set, and they were related to each other. Actually cousins. They were actually related to each other and killed each other over gang affiliations. And it happens all the time, you know, even in places like Chicago, where gangs are prominent, you know, like with the Vice Lords and the Black Gangster Disciples and so forth on, you know. A lot of them killing each other is actually related to each other by blood. Even when I was in prison, it was a known fact that you had cousins and brothers that were related to each other by blood, stabbing each other over some type of differences they had between themselves, trying to kill each other off, and actually did it, you know? So, I mean, this type of situation has gotten out of hand. Like I said, because, and even though, like I said, it happens in all families, no matter what culture or race they come from, but mainly I'm speaking about soul Black America, you know, and you know, I have to say that it's a very serious growing domesticated problem that many of us don't even want to talk about, you know. And what's also even harmful is the fact that a lot of us, and this has been going on even from the generations of slavery on down, you know, where during slavery, even though we were forced to have incest with each other, but we still practice that today amongst each other in our own different families. You know what I'm saying? So, that's something else that's just being totally overlooked, and that's not being addressed, you know? And I have to say that you know, we like to sit up and talk about the Caucasian, how you know, diabolical they are when it comes to that rape and incest stuff in their families, but we do it too. And you got to remember, it comes from slavery as well. So we definitely been doing it. You know, we definitely have been doing it. And those of you that disagree, check the history on it and check what's going on presently with that. And you will see that we've been doing that as much as Caucasians have. You know, and like I said, but the only difference, like I said, with slavery, we were forced to do that. But today, we're not back in the 1800s. So we have a choice to change our ways from that type of behavior, you know, as a family structure unit, you know, but it's still going on. Like I said, it's still going on today. And it's something that's highly overlooked in what you call the Black community, unquote, you know. And so, I mean, you know, we have to understand and realize that, and like I said before in the recent video, that until we could get it together and become a community again, which is something we're presently are not, due to the destructive, you know, actions that has brought it to the point where what we call communities only could be considered as what they say in the street as being the hood. That's all it is the hood. I don't care where you go. Small, big city, small town, wherever you find a large concentration or so black Americans, it ain't nothing but the hood. I mean, you don't even got a whole neighborhood. And you got a lot of wealthy black people that live in this country, or people that's well to do financially, that are amongst the 40 plus million dark skinned slave descendants in this country that do have money, that could afford to live outside of impoverished neighborhoods. And you don't even have a big neighborhood, or chains of neighborhoods around the country with well-off black people, even with the celebrities that we have from amongst us. You know, we don't have no exactly black neighborhood that we could just simply call a black neighborhood with a bunch of well-off black people. You know, it's no such thing. And if it is, I'm not saying it ain't, but it's very rare if you even seen one. Now, I do know about one that was in Prince George County, Maryland, years ago, where you had a lot of wealthy black people or well-off black people. And they always talked about that place, which was once a community, because you had thriving black people that had large sums of money, and that could afford to stay in that area at that time. Well, during the crack cocaine epidemic, they started letting their children get out of hand, where they were standing on the corner drinking, 40 ounces like they do in the hood, in the impoverished poor hoods of Black America. And so it became just another neighborhood filled with niggonomics, basically. And so now, it's no different than any other hood, which you want to call a black community in America. It's nothing but another hood, and I thought you had such places like that, like in different parts of the country, like in Atlanta, where it's a lot of well-off to do black people with a lot of money, but from my understanding, it's not even, you can't find really a neighborhood like that in Atlanta, which is prominently known for having a lot of wealthy black people, So, it's like, we're just, it's like, and like I said, with the black family situation, we are very destitutely domesticated. I mean, and when I look at my own story and with the family background I come from on both sides, and then I look at other soul black people that I personally have known in my life, and those in general that have come from poorly domesticated family structures, I have to say that it's very sad. It's very, really sad. And this is why I don't get mad. Sorry about that. Hold on for a minute. Sorry about that. But anyway, I don't get mad, when And the reason I'm going to say this, because I'm not going to get into my opinions about mixed racial relations and all that, because this is not the time for that. And this is really not the platform for that. But I will say this here is that, can you really blame Black people who choose to marry into other cultures, who choose to marry and have families in other cultures? Can you really blame them? I mean, that's just the reality of it. And I'm not saying that I'm defending them on that note. So don't get me twisted with what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that, do you blame them for going to marry into other cultures, starting families in other cultures? Do you blame them? You know what I'm saying? Because it's unfortunate. It is unfortunate. I mean, listen, check this out. I have known different cultures like Mexicans and Asians that I've lived around in different neighborhoods